Started. Welcome in for everybody tuning in on YouTube. It's so good to have you in here with me today. The first stream in a handful of days. We are going to go ahead and hop straight into our debates with a handful of Trump supporters. In fact, we already have our first Trump supporter, Shelly, up on the live. So, Shelly, take it away and tell us why you support the current administration.
Okay, so the reason I support Trump, I don't think Kamala is a bad person or a bad president. The reason I support Trump right now is not only because of his immigration policies, it's because of the respect some other presidents have for him. And I know it's hard for that. A lot of people will say that shouldn't play a role in who you support and who you're voting for. But at the end of the day, if other countries will respect us, then that is a benefit for us. The second thing too is the tariffs.
Let's touch on that first thing. What president respects Trump more than Harris? Or I guess just respects him in general, because your claim is just that
I'm not saying I support this president, but it's Putin and Kim Jong. Those are awful people.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. I used to agree with you. I used to think that the dictators supported Trump more than Harris. Okay, and just generally add respect for him. And I had an argument against that. I still do. But honestly, now I'm inclined to disagree. I don't even think that Putin respects Trump. We have leaked Kremlin documents where Putin calls him easy to manipulate. And what has Trump achieved since he went into office as it relates to Russia and Ukraine? Not jack shit. Okay. One of the most recent developments was literally begging Putin on X to stop bombing Ukraine. Okay. Then what about Kim Jong-un? You're telling me that Kim Jong-un has respect for him. So how come Kim Jong-un shook his hand in August of 2019, right, and told him that they'd stop doing their missile testing? Then 2 months later, in June, they went right back to it, disrespecting that agreement. Seemingly, not even Putin nor Kim Jong-un have respect for Trump.
Yeah, no, so I did not know about the Kim Jong-un thing, so I do appreciate you bringing that up. I was not fully informed about that one. And then, so yeah, I do think that even if they don't, let's say, respect each other, they do have that at least some line of communication that could bite us in the ass, but it could also help with some things of not at least being on communication terms versus Kamala has no communication. And I know that could be she has not been president yet. And she hasn't had that chance to build that relationship with them, even good or bad. So I can't say for sure how her relationship would be because she hasn't had the chance to even have one. But yeah, that's one reason. And then could I say my second one? Or
so just like clarifying, your position is that you think that Trump will be better for relations with Russia?
No, that's just one of my things.
So that is your claim?
That Trump will be better in relations with other countries, yeah.
Oh, with other countries. So, I mean, I simply don't think that's true. I think you can make an argument that Putin likes Trump more than Harris, but I mean, outside of that, I would heavily disagree.
Yeah, but the thing is, Russia is a very strong country that.
Okay, but like one country is different from other countries with
Yeah. Okay, I will. Yes, Russia.
But as it relates to Russia, are Russia's goals good or bad?
I don't think they're good. No.
So they're bad, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then you'd also agree that like Putin is kind of crazy, and he's only going to align himself with people that are going to.
Yes, Putin is a crazy narcissist. I will admit that. Yes.
And he's only going to align himself with people that will further his self-interests.
Can you elaborate on that?
Putin is more likely to align himself with people that will further his self-interests.
In Putin's mind, yes.
Okay, sweet. So, I mean, all that this means is to Putin, Trump will help him further his own self-interest compared to Kamala Harris when his self-interests are admittedly bad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of got me on that one, not gonna lie.
What's next?
His abortion.
Oh, okay.
I know, and one thing I want to say before this is I know Trump does not have control the abortion policies in the United States. He did overturn Roe v. Wade, brought it back to the states, but I am pro-life.
Okay, so you think that abortion should be banned. Why should abortion be banned, Shelly?
Yeah, so I'm not in the way of, for me, I don't think it should be banned. Or in certain cases. I think there definitely needs to be medical exceptions and rape exceptions. But I think if in any other case, there are other things to do. I think if you were not being responsible, that baby still deserves to live. And that baby still has a life that they could live.
Okay, so So you're basically saying that it should be abandoned in elective circumstances because that baby deserves to live. Why does that baby deserve to live?
Because it's still a fetus, or it still is going to grow into a human being, and
It's going to grow into a human being. So that would imply that you don't think that a fetus is a human being now, but it will be in the future.
yeah, well, I can admit a fetus is not a human being now.
So you think it's wrong to kill things that will be humans in the future? I have a question. Will some sperm cells and eggs be humans in the future?
Could be. Fetus will be. Sperm cell could be.
Okay. So would you say that, like for instance, if your father were to have pulled out and unalived the sperm, which inevitably led to your conception, that he would be doing something really wrong?
No, because they're a fetus. If it's already in you, it will grow into a human being. Who knows if that sperm would have?
Well, I mean,
What's the fetus in you?
in retrospect, we have certainty, right? Like the sperm that led to your conception would have been a human being in the future. So, like, seemingly, it would have been wrong for him to kill that sperm. And also, you're saying that fetus will be a human in the future. Well, if you think that a human is just like a born fetus, okay, well, there's no certainty that a fetus is going to be born. Miscarriages do occur. So you're just saying
Yeah,
it
but
could be as well.
I don't understand how you think it's not fair to give that fetus a chance at life when it's already in the womb. It can, at 6 weeks old, it can feel sensation.
Okay, that's not so. When you say sensation, what do you mean? Wait, actually, no, that's simply not true.
Yes.
No, that's absolutely not fucking true. Pain receptors don't
absolutely
develop
is
until
true.
20 through 28
Not pain
weeks.
receptor sensation.
What is sensation?
It's not nothing. Like I will admit, an abortion isn't going to
Wait,
hurt.
wait,
during
wait. What
it
is
if it's that old.
sensation? What is sensation?
The feeling of stuff. It might not hurt.
What is feeling?
They can feel their fingers.
What do you mean feel? What is it? Define the word feel? What do you mean to feel? Do you mean to experience subjective experiences?
No,
Then what do you mean by feel? I don't know how you're using the term feel in this context.
If I can reach out and touch a chair, I can feel the chair.
Okay, but when you say that you're reaching out and you're touching a chair, you're feeling the chair, you're relating to me that you're having these unique subjective experiences of what it's like to understand what it's the touching the chair. Okay, so when you're talking about these things such as feeling, sensation, etc., I think that feelings, and sensation are ultimately all rooted within subjective experiences. Right?
Yeah, so then I have a
Okay,
question.
and like sentience and consciousness. Okay, well here's the deal. Okay, a fetus can't have experiences, sensations, or feelings until it has the ability to deploy any level of sentience. And the current and like the current consensus amongst neurobiologists is around 20 through 24 weeks.
Okay, so then I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Why do you think two people being irresponsible the baby should have to be punished, or the fetus should have to be punished?
Okay, you're shifting your argument. I would love to respond to the new argument once you respond to what I just said.
That's one of my reasons. I have multiple reasons.
I understand, but I want you to respond to my refutation of your first reason.
Can you
Because-
repeat it?
Yeah, you said that it has sensation and feelings at 5 weeks. I said that's not true. The earliest
6
point
weeks.
in which they could have sensation and or feeling is at 20 through 24 weeks, as that is the earliest point that neurobiologists understand sentience to be able to be deployed.
You're saying at 23 weeks.
Yeah, 20 through 24 weeks, yep.
They can feel pain at that age. They can't feel pain at 6 weeks, but they have even the sensation of moving their tongue in their mouth. That also would be considered sensation. They can feel the roof of their mouth. That's what I'm talking about.
Shelly, I've already described this to you. Sensation, okay, is an experience. Can we agree there?
Yeah.
Okay, what's an experience?
Something that happens.
Something that happens, okay, but like a sensation is like an experience that you could like self-acknowledge, okay? So it's like it's not just that something is happening, it's that you know something's happening, right?
I think I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd agree. Okay.
Right. Like for instance, if you're asleep in your bed and your cat jumps up on the bed and lays on your legs, okay? Well, you're asleep, you're not going to acknowledge that has occurred, so I wouldn't say that's a sensation that you had, okay? Right? Because you have to have some acknowledgement that it occurred, okay? Well, what do we define as like the acknowledgement of like subjective experiences? Like that's sentience, it's consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that doesn't occur until 20 through 24 weeks. So these sensations, these feelings can't occur until 20 through 24 weeks at the minimum either.
Okay, but would you also, so you're saying your tongue touching the roof of your mouth is not sensation?
Shelly, I just explained this to you. Okay, it's not a sensation when you don't have consciousness. It's not a sensation when you don't have sentience. It's not a feeling unless you could acknowledge that it's occurring. Okay, all right. Like for a fetus at 5 weeks, there's no acknowledgement at all that it's occurring.
I beg to differ with you on that one, but
Well, no, you can't unless you have evidence. Okay, what evidence do you have that sentience and or like consciousness can occur at like 5 weeks?
at 6 weeks, not 5.
Do you have any evidence of that?
Yeah, here, let me pull up the article real quick. Talk to your stream while I do that.
Man. Okay. Yeah.
My anxiety.
Let's go ahead and see the evidence that they have sentience before they have a developed brain at all. That'll be fun for the 7,000 people in here. I appreciate you for being here. Make sure that you're double tapping away on that phone screen and share out this live with a handful of friends. So I feel like what she's referencing is this study that very immoral study that was done in the 70s. I think it was late 70s, like 78 or so. Basically, they took the bodies of fetuses and they tested them for any type of brain activity, and they were able to locate and identify very like low alpha brain waves. However, like low alpha brain waves are not sufficient for any sentience, for any level of sentience and or sentient experience. So, like the claim that sentience occurs at that point is debunked and has been refuted since. In fact, the more neuroscientists have studied and looked into the expression of consciousness and sentience throughout embryonic and throughout the development of a fetus, the later they push down the line. So in the 70s, it was 6 to 7 weeks. In the 80s, it was 10. In the 90s, it was 15. And now the current understanding is 20 through 24. Very fun fact.
Okay, on nationalinstitution.gov, it says that there is new neurological science that has been performed in different studies.
Nationalinstitution.gov is not a website. I'm guessing you mean National Institute of Health.
Yeah, National Institute of Health, sorry.
There you go. By the way, we can't hear you when you're on pause. You have to be able to see me in order for me to hear you.
There's evidence that indicates fetuses can feel pain and perception during the first trimester, less than 14 weeks. Please look that up.
So less than 14 weeks. I thought you said that your claim was 6 weeks.
So that's less than 14 weeks. Let me read you another one.
Okay, well, once again, I can't hear you if you can't see me. You're teacupping out of the app. That's what they call that.
I know I'm finding the exact article so I can read it word for word for you.
Okay, all right. I would like to clarify that even this study off of the NIH reads, the predominant position has been that the potential for fetal pain perception emerges at mid-gestation. This position is mirrored at the legislative level, in which recognizes that fetal pain capacity would occur at the 20 through 22 week gestational mark. And this comes from a study in 2021, provided after, what is listed. And in fact, this is not even a study of its own. This is a paper that's more so talking about other studies.
So I have a question. Would you say...
I mean, did you read through this at all?
Yeah, so would you say that...
So you did read through this. So I have a question. Where in this does it indicate the evidence of the findings?
So would you say that a baby responded...
Oh my God. Oh my God. You didn't read through it. You want to know why I know that you didn't read through this? You want to know why?
Why, Dean?
Go down to table 1, okay? In the study in the study, quote unquote, that you're giving me from NIH, okay? All this is an academic review of all literature that has been posted on the subject in the last 80 years. So if you go down to table 1, okay, it's titled "The Development of Fetal Neuroreceptive Pathways," okay, which is what they define as being required to feel and understand pain or sensation. Okay, so the first gestational wake point, which is 7.5 through 15 weeks, you want to know what their source is that pain can arise at that point? Want to know what year it's from?
Dean, one thing real quick. Do you have pink eye?
No, I don't. Do you want to know what year it's from?
Yes.
1964. And then what about the next week, Mark? It's 7 to 8 gestational weeks. Do you want to know where their study is from that claim?
You can.
1984. Okay. Yeah. Now, what about the next week, Mark? 12 through 20 through 15 weeks. Do you want to know what years the studies are from there?
So why would I have a
Do you
question?
want to no? Do you want to know what the years their studies are from
Why
there?
would the year
No.
matter?
No. I will literally tell you why the year matters.
Why do you think that year matters? They found that the baby.
Shelly, I'm going to tell you why the year matters if you're going to listen to me.
Speak then.
So what years were the studies from conducted that said pain can be felt at 12 through 15 weeks?
I'm still waiting for you to tell me why that's relevant.
I have to give you a full picture before I could tell you why it's relevant. So what years were the studies done that concluded that pain could be felt between 12 and 15 weeks?
Doesn't matter the year.
The
study was done and it proved it. So say why the study.
Shelly,
say why the year matters.
Sure, because the study done that proved that pain could be felt at 7 weeks was in 1964. The study done that proved pain could be felt at 8 weeks was in 1984. The study done that proved pain could be felt at 12 to 15 weeks was in 2002. And then the studies done that proved that pain could be felt between 20 and 24 weeks were done in 2005, 2020, and 2021. Okay? The reason why the years are relevant insofar as when these studies were conducted is because of exactly what I said earlier. Understanding of medicine and science has continually progressed and advanced the more that we've learned. And in fact, neuroscience is a more recent field of research that was just about as speculative as quantum mechanics in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Okay,
so,
but the better we can understand the field of research, the more likely we are to yield true, correct conclusions. So when we see a positive correlation between the year in which a study is released, okay, it being older, denoting the fact that they believe fetuses could perceive pain earlier, and the fact that it's newer, denoting our new understanding that fetuses can perceive pain later. What this shows is that the more we know, the later we kind of push that rock down the road of when a fetus can begin experiencing pain. All right. And I mean, this is exactly what we've done with cigarettes as well. I mean, what did doctors say about cigarettes in the 1960s? They said that they were perfectly safe. What do they say now? No, they kill people. Same thing with vapes, and same thing with a lot of other forms of study and advancement in neurobiology, since it's such a lucrative and hard to study emerging field in medicine and science. So when we see this trend of the more recent a study is done with a better understanding of neurobiology with more advanced equipment, the later it says consciousness can emerge in a fetus, leads us to the justified conclusion that, of course, it's more likely to occur at 20 through 24 weeks compared to 7 to 8 weeks, because the means in which we have to believe it occurs at 7 to 8 weeks are from the 60s, and the means in which we have to believe that it occurs at 20 through 24 weeks is 2 years ago.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. You think a baby only starts feeling pain at 24 weeks, right?
So 20 through 24 weeks is when I believe that they have the ability to express any level of sentience.
So you think they can feel pain at 24 weeks, right?
Yeah, I mean, actually, more specific studies on the ability to perceive pain is around 28 weeks.
And do you think abortion should be allowed then?
So I think that elective lethal abortions become immoral at 20 through 24 weeks with the emergence of low levels of sentience as well as the point of viability.
So your argument is on the viability and the ability
my argument
to feel
is on sentience.
sentience. Okay.
So do you want to respond to like the long-winded explanation I just gave insofar as why you're wrong and I'm right? You're quoting studies from the 60s. I'm quoting 2 studies from 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, so I will admit that your studies are overgoing mine. I'm not gonna say that's wrong because I will admit that you said that. But I do think, so you think it's morally okay to abort a fetus at, let's even say, so you think 24 weeks. Let's say 19 weeks.
Yeah. If it doesn't have the ability to deploy sentience, there's nothing wrong with it.
24 weeks?
It's not okay to abort it if it's elective and it has the ability to deploy sentience. It is okay to abort it if it's elective and it doesn't have the ability to deploy sentience. Whatever that point
So,
may be. So,
so what about
imagine a fetus gains that ability at 20 weeks. It's okay to abort and kill that fetus at 19 weeks, 6 days, and 23 hours.
so why do you think that it's fine for that, but why shouldn't the mother just carry it to term? She chose to engage in tango, so
Right, right. So you're basically saying even if there's nothing morally valuable about the life of the fetus, it's still the mother's obligation to carry that pregnancy to term because she consented to engage in an intercourse knowing that it ran the risk of pregnancy. Is that your position?
yes.
Okay. So if you smoke a cigarette and you do so willingly, acknowledging the risk that that can lead to lung cancer, and you do develop lung cancer, do you think you should have an obligation to keep that lung cancer alive, or should you be able to go get chemotherapy from your doctor?
It's different because that fetus is a completely separate human being.
Well, actually, no, because in the pretense of this position, the value of the fetus doesn't matter. You're saying even if the fetus possessed no value at all, it would still be wrong for the mother to abort it because she consented to the action which led to that as a consequence. See? Now, you could only point out one distinction between my analogy and an abortion, that being that you don't think the life of lung cancer is valuable. However, you do think the life of a fetus is valuable. Okay? Well, that's just an entirely different argument, and now you're just pivoting back to what you pivoted away from originally.
So okay, then I have another question for you.
Okay.
What's your stance then on cases of grape? Do you think it should be the whole pregnancy?
Yeah.
So even at 30 weeks.
Yeah. No, I don't think that a great victim has any obligation to provide their bodily resources to a fetus. In fact, I'd argue
At 30 weeks, why couldn't she just do a C-section then? At that point, that baby is viable. Why would I think at that point it's immoral. I think a C-section should be.
So that's what an abortion would look like at 30 weeks, is a C-section. Do you think that a victim of grape should be able to access abortion whenever?
If it's a C-section, yes.
What if it kills a fetus?
You're still giving it the chance to survive, so yes. It's different than just killing it on the spot and trying to get it out and save it.
So if a grape victim gets an abortion at 15 weeks, that fetus has no chance of survival.
At 15 weeks, I said I made exceptions for grape. I think they should be able to get an abortion at 15 weeks for grape. I think it should go up to 20 weeks.
Okay, so
grape.
now you're really confusing me. Listen, I think that we need to kind of get back to the basics so we can have an understanding here. So the first reason that you gave me insofar as why you think abortion is wrong is because fetuses have the ability to deploy consciousness at 6 weeks. That claim has been debunked, has been proven false. And then the second reason you've given me insofar as why you think abortion is wrong is because the woman consented to engage in an intercourse, meaning that she has an obligation to deal the outcome of said intercourse. And I debunked that with the use of an analogy of a cancer patient smoking an individual smoking a cigarette and developing lung cancer. So, I mean, at this point, do you have refutation to either of my two positions, or do you wish to try to give me a new argument?
I already told you the cigarette one. I think that's completely irrelevant comparing cancer to a fetus.
Why is that irrelevant?
Because so you're valuing.
Are you saying that it's a bad analogy because a fetus has more value than a cancer cell?
Yes.
Okay, well then see, now you're pivoting to another argument because your position had nothing to do with the value of the fetus and all to do with the obligation that you think the woman has because
comparing
she
a fetus to
consented
cancer.
the risk
A
of
fetus
pregnancy.
has way more value than cancer.
Shelly, I need you to listen to me, okay? I need you to listen to me very closely. So the first argument that you gave me about how it has the ability to deploy sentience at 6 to 7 weeks, that was a value-based argument, okay? That was your argument to argue that that fetus has value, okay? I debunked that argument. I proved it false. I proved it wrong. You do not have an argument that a fetus is morally valuable. You just simply don't have it, okay? So then you just threw that argument out the window. You threw out the position that a fetus is morally valuable, and then you introduced the position that, okay, I can't demonstrate to you that the life of a fetus is morally valuable, but I could still try to argue that a woman shouldn't be able to get an abortion because she acknowledged the risk of pregnancy when she engaged in intercourse, therefore she has an obligation to see it through. All right.
So
in
then do you
granting me
think a
this
baby
new
is a
position,
parasite?
and granting me this new position that she has an obligation to see that pregnancy through because she acknowledged the risk of pregnancy when she consented to engage in an intercourse, okay, that argument doesn't invoke anything of value. It just is simply stating that if you engage in an action in which runs the risk of leading to an outcome, such as pregnancy in the case of sex or lung cancer in the case of smoking a cigarette, you must deal with it. Okay? So, yes, my analogy about the cigarette smoker developing lung cancer is analogous. 110% it's analogous. And when you argue that it's not analogous because the fetus is valuable and the cancer cell is not valuable, you're then shifting your position. But that's fine. Now you just have to argue to me that the life of a fetus is morally valuable. So, what is valuable about the life of a fetus?
Wait, so I just want to establish this real quick. You don't think the life of a fetus is valuable, correct?
You're correct.
Okay. So at 9 months, it is still a fetus, right?
So I
Nope,
I don't know
don't
about my
answer.
terms. I guess when I use I guess I should add on a little bit more. I don't think it's valuable when it doesn't have the ability to deploy sentience. You
Okay.
got me.
I'm not trying to get you. I just want, like, maybe I was trying to get you a little bit there. But
So go ahead and tell me why you do think it is valuable.
I think at any age that fetus is valuable.
I know, I'm asking you why.
Because it's going to become a life. It's going to have its own, it's literally going to keep growing into a life. At that point, why, if it is an elective
So I just want to
abortion-
clarify, your position is that it's valuable because it's alive?
No, because it is going to be a human.
Okay,
It is going
I've
to-
already disputed that position too. The sperm cell in which led to your conception is going to be a human. Would it be murder to kill that sperm cell?
No, because there's no guarantee it'll be a human.
Is there a guarantee that a fetus will be a human?
Way higher chances, yes.
Oh, so there's not a guarantee. There's just simply a higher chance.
Yeah, chances make a
Okay.
lot. If there's like a 0.001 and then a 99%,
Okay,
Which
well,
one do
first
you
of all,
think
it's
is
not
worth-
99%. 1 in 3 pregnancies leads to a miscarriage. And it's also worth clarifying that the particular question I asked you was if the sperm cell that led to your conception was killed, would that be murder? There is a guarantee that that sperm cell will be a human, will be you.
so you think it's guaranteed that it'll be that sperm cell?
Yeah, yes.
No.
Shelly, I don't know. I want to make sure that you're hearing me. Would it have been murder to kill the sperm cell that led to your conception? Because it would have been a human in the future.
At the time-
like the guarantee that sperm cell would have been a human in the future.
Yeah, but at
is
the time,
implied
there was no
given the
guarantee.
question I'm asking you.
Yeah, so at the time there was no guarantee, so no.
Yeah, yes, there was.
At the time, no.
Yeah, yes,
At the
yes.
time, there was
the
no
fuck,
guarantee which
the
one
fuck
would've.
there was. Are you kidding me?
Dude, are you
Shelly? Yes, we know this. In retrospect, it is certainly true. 100% certainly
No,
true.
you don't know if the sperm is going to catch or not.
Wait, are you
How
saying
would
that
you-
you just couldn't have possessed knowledge of this?
Dude, how do you...
Wait. So now,
No,
your
no, no.
argument
You are
is
literally
even if
making
it's
my brain hurt.
definite.
You are
So I just want to clarify. So your position isn't that it's wrong to kill things that will be human in the future, but your position is that it's wrong to kill things that you think will be human in the future.
So you never answered my question. You muted me, so answer my question, then I'll answer yours.
I don't understand what your question is. You're saying that it's wrong to kill things that will be a human in the future.
So,
the
no.
sperm that led to your conception would have been a human in the future. Like it's logically implied. So is it wrong to kill that sperm?
At the time, no. There is no... So if
you don't think it's wrong to kill that sperm, if you don't think it's wrong to kill that sperm, Shelly, sorry, I'm going to put you on mute. If you don't think it's wrong to kill that sperm, then you simply don't think it's wrong to kill things that will be human in the future. So then what's the position of yours that makes you think that the fetus's life is morally valuable? Because it's obviously not that you think it's wrong to kill things that will be human in the future.
I swear, even my vape got sick of you and it just died, so... Anyways, so at the time of Devil's Tango, sex, whatever, okay? There is no guarantee... I hope it dies right now. I hope it burns. There is no guarantee that it's going to catch and that it's going to be the one to fertilize the egg, or that egg is even going to be fertilized. So there is nothing wrong with killing that sperm when there is no guarantee, none at all, that it will catch.
Okay, I just simply don't think that you're understanding what I'm saying, or
I don't
or
think
like
you're
the way that
understanding what I'm saying.
the way that we use these terms. Okay, so I'm asking you this question in retrospect, given that we have certain knowledge of what's already occurred. Okay, so like the claim that a specific sperm cell led to your conception and was a human in the future is certainly true, right?
Uh, can you repeat that?
So it's like there was a sperm cell in which led to the conception of yourself and became a human, correct?
Yes.
So like in retrospect, that sperm cell had like 100% certainty of becoming you, correct?
No, it didn't have a 100% chance.
It could it so it couldn't have been any other sperm cell because it was that sperm cell.
At the time, there was
The
no
corn. Thank you so
guarantee.
much for the galaxy.
At the time, there is no guarantee. At the time, there is zero guarantee. Yes, it did end up happening, but there was
So
no
so
guarantee.
so the fact that we know it ended up okay. Listen, basically, here's what I'm saying. Okay, I don't even know if I have any other way to like this question is being asked in retrospect. This is a retrospective question,
I have
meaning
answered
that
it
we
so many
knew this
times and
was
you
going to
don't like my
happen.
answer.
Okay, we knew that this very specific sperm cell was going to lead to your conception. Okay, it's a retrospective question. I'm
At the time,
essentially
you
saying
wouldn't know, though.
it's a hypothetical where we
Okay,
did
so
know.
hypothetical, you know that baby. You say 1 in 3 is going to lead miscarriage. You know that baby is going to end up living a good life, and you know that baby is going to make it. Yet you still think it's fine to kill it.
So you would say hypothetically, if we did know that there was a sperm cell which led to your conception, it'd be wrong to kill that sperm cell.
If we think that there is a sperm cell that would 100% lead to my conception, yes.
Do you think that'd be murder?
No, it wouldn't be murder.
Okay, so it's not. So abortion isn't murder either.
I don't think abortion is murder. I think it's wrong.
Oh, okay. Then also,
I
so
never
now
once said abortion is
here's
murder.
the crazier part. So now you are
I
saying that it
agree.
is.
I
So
agree.
now you're
not.
saying that it is wrong to like kill a sperm in which we know would have led to like the conception of you. So let's just assume that your mom and
If
dad.
you knew 100%, but there's no way to know 100%.
Shelly.
So the
Hey,
question
Shelly.
means nothing. Hey,
Shelly. Hey,
hey,
Shelly. You're
hey,
gonna go on
hey,
mute now
hey.
because you're interrupting me. Okay, back to the hypothetical. So now let's assume that both your parents did know this the night that they were engaging in intercourse that led to your conception. Are you saying that it would have been wrong for your mother to revoke consent from engaging in intercourse with your dad?
Your question has no value because there is no chance to know that. So your question has no value. Give me a question that has value and something we could know.
Okay, so Shelly, this is what we call a hypothetical. Hypotheticals are incredibly useful for intellectual debate because it makes
Your
us
thing
better
isn't
able to
useful.
understand the principles in which underlie our positions. And when you give me the position that it's wrong to disrupt an environment in which will yield a human in the future, such as under your view, killing a fetus or a sperm in which led to the conception of said fetus, this would also include like the environment of engaging in intercourse and seeing it through. So given that your mom and your dad knew that your conception would have occurred given that they engaged in intercourse and saw it through, they begun to engage in intercourse and your mother revoked consent, she would have disrupted the environment in which led to a future human, just like killing the sperm in which led to your conception or killing the fetus, right? So in other words, would you say that your mother revoking intercourse from engaging with your father on that night, given they have certain knowledge that conception would have occurred if she didn't revoke intercourse, would have been just as wrong as a woman getting an abortion?
No, because there's no guaranteed way to know.
So, Shelly, once again, you're changing the parameters of my hypothetical. Under the parameters of my hypothetical, they do know that if they do see the intercourse through, that conception will occur.
Yeah, under the parameters of your unrealistic hypothetical, then yeah.
Okay, so it would have been wrong for your mom to revoke engaging in intercourse. So basically, you're saying that if she didn't want to engage in intercourse with your dad should have raped her.
No one said they should have raped her.
What do you think the word should means? The word means should means good. And if you're saying it'd be bad for your mother to revoke engaging in intercourse with your dad, this means that it would be good for your dad to continue engaging in intercourse with your mom.
No, first of all, if she still consented, yeah, it would be good if that fetus, but it doesn't mean he should if she revoked consent. Yeah.
So I just want to clarify, that's abortion. You think that abortion
No.
should be illegal. So do you think that your mother revoking engaging in intercourse with your dad the night you were conceived should also have been illegal? She shouldn't legally been allowed to revoke
It
it.
wasn't a fetus yet.
Oh, it wasn't a fetus yet?
No.
Okay, so your position has nothing to do with the future existence of human life and all to do with the value of a like just the fact that it's
It
a
is
fetus.
a fetus, though.
So
at
in other
that
words,
point.
your argument is that a fetus is valuable because it's a fetus. Okay, so it's a circular position. My response is pretty simple. It's just simply put that a fetus is not valuable because it's a fetus.
I think it's valuable as a fetus because it is its own thing. By that point, it's its own life. By
Okay.
that point, it has its own heartbeat.
Okay, so you're saying that it's just wrong because it's its own life with its own heartbeat, right?
Yes.
Are you vegan?
Am I a vegan? Yes, actually, I am.
Okay, do you think that our government should legally obligate and mandate everyone to be vegan?
No.
Okay, so in other words, you do think it's wrong to kill a chicken, just like it's wrong to kill a fetus. However,
No, I
you
don't think
that
it's wrong to
individuals
kill a
should be able to.
chicken. I don't think it's wrong to kill a chicken. I'm allergic to meat, and that's why I'm vegan.
Oh, but I thought you said that it's wrong to kill living organisms with heartbeats.
It is wrong to kill a fetus.
Are chickens living organisms with heartbeats?
Yeah, but that's the circle of life. Are you gonna eat that baby? Because
okay. So it's wrong to kill living organisms with heartbeats unless you eat them. So if a mother got an abortion and ate the dead body of the fetus, that'd be okay.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's what you just told me.
No, I told you a chicken. So you're comparing now a baby to a chicken.
Yeah, I'm comparing them given the principle that you gave to me insofar as why the life of a fetus is morally valuable. You told me that the life of the fetus is morally valuable because it's a living organism.
Because it's going to be a human.
That's the underlying principle.
And it's going to be a human.
Humans
have more value than
we've already disputed that position.
humans have more value than a chicken. So
We've already disputed that position. The way that we disputed that.
Shut up.
So
It has a heartbeat.
So the way
It
that
has a heartbeat.
so the way that we disputed that position was by simply laying out the fact that there is environments in which are conducive to future human life in which you don't think it's wrong to like terminate, such as like the environment of your mom and dad engaging in intercourse, like the value of the sperm in of itself.
So you don't want me to bring it in because
does that
it proves your point.
Shelly, I've unironically refuted every single thing you've said.
No, you haven't.
What's one thing that you've said that I haven't refuted?
You compared a chicken to a baby.
So, Shelly, I need you to turn your brain on. The comparison between the chicken and the fetus was a simple fact that the reason you said the fetus was morally valuable.
You ignored the fact that I said.
Hey, Shelly. Stop interrupting me. The position you gave me, the reason, the principle you gave me, insofar as why you said the life of the fetus was morally valuable, was because it was its own living organism with a heartbeat. Okay? The way we use principles is in this all-encompassing fashion. Principles are true in all applicable contexts. So if you say it's wrong to kill living organisms with a heartbeat, that will mean it's wrong to kill a fetus. However, it will also mean it's wrong to kill a chicken. Because just like a fetus, which is a living organism with a heartbeat, chickens are also living organisms with heartbeats.
I have a question for
given
you.
your
That's not a
principle-
hypothetical.
So given your principle, there is a comparison between a chicken and a fetus. Now, if you don't think that there should be a comparison between a chicken and a fetus, that's not my problem. That's yours. Because you're the one that gave a principle in which makes the two life forms comparable.
So then answer this. So again, your abortion status or requirements are because when it has a heartbeat, right?
What? I don't value a heartbeat. I value sentience. I've already told you that.
Okay, so let's say there is someone there's an old lady in the hospital, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She can't feel anything right now. She's in a coma.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wrong to go take a knife and stab her?
Yeah, coma patients still have moral value because they fall under my conjunct of greater value, which is past or present and future subjective experiences.
It's
not worth explaining the nuances given.
It has no feeling.
So you're right. Coma patients don't currently exhibit and or express sentience. However, coma patients fall into my conjunct of value, which is past or present and future subjective
But the other
experiences.
thing too is viability. That they say that, oh yeah, she's not gonna live if we take her off this.
I don't value viability. It just happens to align with my view of valuing sentience.
See, but that's a point you brought up. So sentience too. Okay, sentience and viability. She doesn't have either.
So
of those.
I just
Why would it
clarified.
be wrong?
I don't value viability. It just happens to align with when sentience occurs.
So sentience too then. Why she doesn't have any feeling. Why would it be wrong?
So I will now repeat this for the third time. I still value coma patients because coma patients fall into my conjunct of value, which is an expression of past or present and future subjective experiences. So because coma patients have past subjective experiences and future subjective experiences, I still value them.
There is no future subjective experiences. She's gonna be dead.
Okay, well then they're not a coma patient; they're a brain dead patient, and I don't value them. It's okay to pull the plug on brain dead patients.
Okay, so let's say someone's brain dead. Can I just go take a knife and stab him? And should I be charged with murder if I do?
I mean, well, given that like a family like doesn't consent to you stabbing them, yeah, that'd be wrong because you're gonna be violating like the
Okay,
property
but
rights.
so the family then.
Hey,
Okay.
Shelly, are you gonna let me finish answering your
No,
question?
the fetus's dad. Should he
Shelly,
have to consent?
are you gonna let me finish answering your question? If you're gonna ask me a question, you have to let me answer it, Shelly. Or I'm so sorry. Is this like a conversation where we can't have nuance? So yeah, I do believe that it is wrong to like go up to a brain dead patient and stab them 10 times in their chest, just like I think it's wrong to go up to a dead body and stab them 10 times in their chest.
That wasn't my question.
Yeah, it was.
Do you think I should be charged with murder?
Should you be charged with murder if you were to stab them 10 times in your chest?
A brain dead patient, yeah.
Yeah,
And
because it was the unjustified killing of a human life. But it's not unjustified for the reason that the brain dead patient has the right to life, but it's rather unjustified for the reason that it violates like either like the intentions of like the family of the brain dead patient or like your own like negative mental states and intentions of doing so, alongside some other trivial reasons that I want to be able to denote, just like I want to be able to describe to you why I think it's wrong to grape a dead body.
Great. Next, your other argument for that was.
Can you tell me what's wrong with what I just said? Like I think it's like wrong to do cruel and unusual things even to life forms that I don't grant the right to life, such as brain dead patients or dead bodies.
Or such as pulling the limbs off of a fetus.
So I mean, I don't think that a medical practice is cruel and unusual, but I mean, if you think that it is cruel and unusual, and that's the reason why you think it's wrong, this must mean that you do think that the abortion pill is not wrong, since it doesn't pull the limbs off of a fetus and rather cuts off the supply of progesterone to the fetus and essentially starves it before it has any experiences, right?
No, I was giving you another example from your thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, obviously, then you'd just simply point out the fact that the way in which a fetus is killed through an abortion practice is not morally relevant insofar as why you think it's wrong. It's more so just like pro-life propaganda.
Yeah, so I was giving you another hypothetical, like you gave me one for my question. Also, another thing in my argument.
Wait, I have a question. Do you think it's
no?
wrong?
I am asking a question right now.
So you've asked me like 4 questions. I can ask you one.
You're telling me not
Shelly?
to interrupt. Let me finish what I was saying. You're telling me not to interrupt. You're like, wait, no.
Shelly, with all due respect, I've been answering your questions. You started off by asking me.
Let me finish this, and then you can answer.
You started off by asking me if it's wrong to like repeatedly stab a brain dead patient, and I was like, yeah, I think that cruel and unusual.
But then you asked me about graping a dead body.
Shelly, do you think it'd be wrong to like stab and grape a dead body?
Yes.
Oh wow. Do dead bodies fall outside of your value conjunct of like present?
I don't think you should be charged though.
What?
What do you mean? What I said? I think you should be charged, though.
Oh, I thought you said that you didn't think it should be charged.
No.
So here's the point which I'm trying to describe. Okay, like questions. So questions such as like, oh, do you think it's wrong to like repeatedly stab a brain dead patient, grape a dead body, etc. Like, yeah, we could agree that it's wrong to do those things, and we could agree that those should be punishable by the law. However, I don't think that those are relevant to the conversation of abortion. Okay, like for instance. We both acknowledge that we have these conjunctions of value. Mine is sentience, yours is future human life. Okay. And when you ask the question, would it be wrong to like repeatedly stab a brain dead patient? You're essentially saying, well, brain dead patients fall outside of your principle of moral value. Therefore, it should be okay to do whatever you want to them. But that's actually not true. Okay. This isn't true under my view, and this isn't true under your view either. Okay. There's like entities that fall outside of both of our principles for moral value that we agree still have like some low level of protection, such as brain dead patients or dead bodies.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
Right, perfect. So there you go.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of your arguments with that was the family. What about the other family of that fetus, like the dad whose sperm went in there? Like, I do think if abortions were to be made legal, I don't think the dad should have any of the final say. But relating back to your question, I'm putting out there right now. I don't think that I should have any final say if abortions were to be made legal. But
My position on this is simple. If we give men a say over what a woman can or can't do with their body in the context of abortion, then we're essentially saying that men should be able to control the bodies of women. And I would prefer to reject that notion compared to giving the father a say so over the life of the fetus, because his sperm aided and abetted in its conception. Because in order to give the father any type of say so over the life of the fetus, we're also thereby giving the father say so over the life of the mother. And I don't think that's permissible. Not to mention, that's not what a woman consents to when she engages in intercourse. I'll just give you an example. Like, when everybody watching this live consents to engage in intercourse, what are you consenting to? The practice of sex, or like the practice of sex and possibly giving another human control and say so over your body for the next 9 months? You're not consenting to that second part.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you on that, and I'm glad you think that too. I'm not saying it should be right. I'm just, saying that the family argument on the other one, relating it back to that. But yeah, no, I do agree with you on that. The next thing too, we can come back to abortion, but I want to keep having a respectful and civil conversation, and I feel myself getting.
I mean, Shelly, you haven't like refuted anything I've said to any of your arguments. You gave me an argument: the life of a fetus was morally valuable because it will be human in the future. I disputed that, no response. You said it was morally valuable because it was a life of the heartbeat. I disputed that, no response. You said it was morally valuable because, not that it's morally valuable. You said that abortion's wrong because the mother has an obligation to sustain the pregnancy, given that she engaged in an action of sex which ran the risk of pregnancy in the future. I disputed that, no response. It's like every single time you've given me a reason why you think the action's wrong, and then I like debunk it, you just give no response and move on to the next thing. Like even in like the questions that you just asked there about brain dead patients and dead bodies, I disputed them, and then you gave me no response, and now we're just moving on to the next thing. I feel like a debate isn't merely just you positing a claim, me refuting it, then you pivoting to the next claim. But a debate should be you posit a claim, I refute it, and then you either contend my refutation or concede. So at this point, I'll either ask you to contend any of the refutations that I've given you to all of your principles insofar as why you think that abortion should be illegal, or concede that abortion should not be illegal. Brianna, thank you for the galaxy.
I will say that you got me on a lot of those. I'm not gonna lie. You have better points than me. I do think, for me, one belief that will probably not change. I mean, I can't say never, is that it is wrong, but I do understand your point of that. Even though, like, I think it's wrong, like it still should be the mother over it.
Right. That's kind of the conclusion that I want to have yielded here. It's just
Okay.
that it shouldn't
Yeah,
be
I can.
legal.
I think one. Okay. What can we come to a civil agreement on this? Great patience, yes. Medical, yes.
I don't agree all the way up to 24 weeks. I do think that's a little too far, but I could say maybe
We can end it at 12.
What happens at 12 weeks that makes you think abortion should be illegal at that point?
I don't think just because anything specifically happens. I think it's because it gives you enough of a window period. Once you find out, you can usually find out you're pregnant. You know what I mean?
Here's the issue with your position. You're telling me that this action should be illegal, not because you value the life of the fetus, but all because you think that the mother's had enough time to already do it. You're making it about the mom. You're not making it about the life of the unborn. That's why I think that the quote-unquote pro-life movement is, in all reality, a pro-control movement of women and their bodies.
Yeah, no, and I can see where you're coming from with that. One thing I will say is you have changed my perspective a little bit, not on everything. I do still think it's wrong, but I do think that it should be, I mean, an option up to some point. I'm not too sure on that point yet. I'm just coming to this conclusion. I haven't done enough research, but I can come to a civil thing on that of up to some point. It shouldn't just be illegal, even though I think it's wrong.
Okay. Well, yeah, there's other things you said you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so I was
Okay,
gonna ask.
before we hop into it, I just got a couple people to thank.
Okay.
Hugo, thank you for the 12 pounds over on YouTube Super Chat. I do really appreciate you so much for the love. Thank you so much. As well as Jennifer with the $10 on Super Chat, Katie with a 5, and then Salem with the 20. Thank you so much for the love, Salem. That is SALEM. Everybody, please show some love to Salem down below in that chat. Salem says, so happy to see you back. I hope you continue to take care of yourself. Your health is very important. Sending love. I really appreciate you for that. That's incredibly kind of you. As well as Carmen with a $50 Super Chat over on YouTube. I do really appreciate you so much for the love, Carmen. That is so incredibly kind of you. Everybody, please show some love to Carmen down below in the chat for the $50, dude. Seriously, 500 Carmen W's. Carmen says, Dean, thank you for doing this work. You teach people every day, even if it's not the people in the queue. I guarantee you're changing the world. Carmen, I do really appreciate you for the kind message. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of rusty, just getting back into things. This is like the first debate I've had in a handful of days. But I do really appreciate you for that love, Carmen. As well as Dolce. Thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. I am doing all right. And Jenna with a 25. Thank you, Jenna. As well as Lovey with a 10. I'll check my Discord DMs. Everybody, please show some love to Lovey, Jenna, Dolce, as well as others, guys. Thank you all so very much. As well as Brianna, thank you so much for the $15 over on PayPal. Brianna says, guys, leave Dean's eye alone. It's a Democratic demon eye. Yeah, it's a DEE. That's right. Thank you so much for the love, Brianna. Anyways, what else did you want to touch on?
Yeah, one question real quick. Where's Parker?
Parker's taking a break right now.
Or sorry, what'd you say?
Parker's taking a break right now.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. I usually see him up here with you. I was making sure he's good. So yeah, the other thing I was wondering if you could tell me one reason you think Trump is terrible for America.
No, I'm sure he's a fascist.
Honestly, I have no clue what that means.
Well, a really easy way to figure out what a fascist is to go to Google, type in tenets of fascism, FACISM. You could either read the literature or the academia, but typically it's consolidated to around 14 tenets. And I believe that Trump perfectly aligns with all 14 tenets of fascism. He also is like he's just anti-American.
Well,
He tried Constitution in 2022, and he told a reporter from ABC that he doesn't know if he has to hold to the Constitution today, and he doesn't even know what the Declaration of Independence is. And that's on top of like trying to coup and rig the outcome of a federal election in 2020, as well as other instances.
Yep. Okay. One thing, absolutely, I can't debate back on the fascism thing because I haven't done enough research on that. Literally just found out what it is, so that's I can't really have a say on that because I don't know. But could you say like another like reason that we could debate on? Because I do know that he did some bad things in the 2020 election. I don't even have anything to debate on that. He messed up in the 2020 election. He did some really shitty things.
Emma, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. I appreciate you. Emma says, always a pleasure to get to watch your streams. Emma, thank you so much for being in here. As well as to the people saying just found out what fascism is. I understand that's a little bit crazy. We should all know what fascism is, but let's not like condemn somebody for being interested and learning more.
I mean, I could say I know what it is and just like
yeah,
at least
I appreciate you for being honest and willing to learn more. But Shelly, at this point, I'm going to move on to the next guest, but I appreciate you for coming up.
Yeah, thank you so much for having a civil debate with me. Have a good day.
You as well, Shelly. We're going to move on to the next guest, everyone.